To solve the equation 2x squared minus 4 equals 3x, we need to first identify what type of equation this is. Looking through the equation, I don't see any radicals, so this is not a radical equation. I do see that there is a variable that is squared, this x squared term. Knowing that it is an x squared and that is the highest degree in the equation tells me that this is a quadratic equation. The methods we know right now to solve quadratic equations are the square root property and the quadratic formula. Because we have this 3x term over on the right side of the equation, I recognize that I cannot use the square root property. The square root property only works if there is a single variable caught up in what is being squared, and there's only numbers otherwise. So in this case, we're going to need to use the quadratic formula. As a reminder, the quadratic formula is based on this. If ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, then x is equal to the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. The quadratic formula allows us to solve any quadratic equation, but that equation must be set equal to 0. So our first step in solving 2x squared minus 4 equals 3x will be to set that equation equal to 0 by subtracting 3x from both sides and putting it in standard form. Subtracting 3x from both sides and putting it in the standard form would then give us the equation 2x squared minus 3x minus 4 equals 0. And now that it is in that standard ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 form, I can identify my a, my b, and my c for the quadratic formula. My a is 2, my b is negative 3, and my c is negative 4. So when I go to set up the quadratic formula, I will have x equals the opposite of negative 3 plus or minus the square root of, in parentheses, negative 3 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 4, and all of that over 2 times 2. The first steps in simplifying this will involve cleaning up the opposite of negative 3, becoming 3 in the front. Underneath the radical, negative 3 squared is 9. Also under the radical, negative 4 times 2 times negative 4 is positive 32, and 2 times 2 in the denominator is 4, giving us 3 plus or minus the square root of 9 plus 32 all over 4. Continuing to simplify that expression, we can clean up more under the radical. 9 plus 32 is 41, and so we have 3 plus or minus the square root of 41 all over 4. Anytime we're working with radicals, we need to ask ourselves if we can reduce or simplify that radical. In this case, 41 is underneath the square root, and there is no perfect square that divides evenly into 41, and so we have our two solutions, 3 plus root 41 all over 4, and 3 minus root 41 all over 4. So we can write that as a conclusion. The solution set is the set 3 plus or minus root 41 all over 4.